Senator John Fetterman has officially broken ranks with his own party, and he's not holding back. After riots exploded in Los Angeles, the entire Democratic Party decided to look the other way. They called it peaceful protesting. But Fetterman, he called it what it really is: violence, destruction, and anarchy. This isn't just another political flare-up. This is a defining moment. While every other Democrat is parroting the same scripted lines, John Fetterman stood up and said what millions of Americans are thinking. This isn't peaceful. This is lawlessness. And in doing so, he may have become the only Democrat left who is willing to tell the truth. In the aftermath of the chaos in Los Angeles, the streets were filled with shattered glass, burning vehicles, looted storefronts, and injured police officers. And what did Democrat leaders say? Almost nothing. They refused to call it what it was. Instead, they fell back into the same tired narrative, calling the riots mostly peaceful, even as live footage showed explosions and violent clashes. It was disgraceful, but John Fetterman was done pretending. He drew a line in the sand. Let's be real. This isn't just about Los Angeles. This is about truth. It's about public safety. It's about the rule of law. And Fetterman is exhausted by his party's refusal to face reality. In his now viral tweet, he wrote, "I unapologetically stand for free speech, peaceful demonstrations, and immigration. But this is not that. This is anarchy and true chaos. My party loses the moral high ground when we refuse to condemn setting cars on fire, destroying buildings, and assaulting law enforcement." Boom. He said what needed to be said, and the reaction? Immediate. CNN, who usually rushes to defend anything the Democrats do, admitted that the party's silence is putting them in a very unfavorable spot. Even they couldn't spin this one.
Senator John Fetterman saying that Democrats are losing the moral high ground in his view when they don't condemn violence amid protests in Los Angeles. Then you have the pushback from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez saying she's calling out ISIS, quote, consistently illegal activity and accusing the president of invoking a chaotic situation for political gain. There is never going to be just one voice here. Is there evidence that Democrats, though, Sabrina, are able to coalesce around a message in this moment?
I mean, that's the ongoing struggle for Democrats right now. You know, you see President Trump, this is a fight that he has been itching to have, you know, since he was on the campaign trail last year. You know, he has long targeted, you know, Democratic state governors, particularly Gavin Newsom in California, on the issue of immigration and crime. On the campaign trail, those are two that he spoke about very much, and they're two that polling show Democrats have really struggled with in the last year, and especially with the way that Trump talked about it on the campaign trail and really ramped up voters around this message.
When the damage is this visible, when the fires are this real, even the liberal media can't ignore it. But Fetterman didn't stop there. He called out the double standard that's been rotting his party from the inside out. For years now, Democrats have been driven not by values or logic, but by one thing only: opposing Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if Trump is pushing for stronger borders, safer streets, or more secure communities. If Trump says it, they're against it. And that's the problem. They've lost the plot entirely. They're more concerned with hating Trump than protecting America. And how do they respond when someone in their own party speaks truth? They try to silence him. They tried to paint Fetterman as mentally unstable. That's right.
Democrats are grappling with the reality that a lot of folks at home are seeing images of disorder, even if these demonstrations are largely peaceful. How do you talk about it in a way where you focus on, you know, condemning violence, you focus on parts of the immigration message that you disagree with? It just puts Democrats really in a defensive position that they've really struggled with.
That's right. Just because he refuses to toe the party line. They'd rather destroy one of their own than admit they're wrong. It's the same playbook they've used again and again: smear, discredit, gaslight. Want proof of how delusional some of these Democrat officials have become? One of Fetterman's colleagues actually said on live TV, "I don't get fooled by what you're seeing. Nobody was killed. The people who advocate the peaceful protest didn't create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. Don't get fooled by what your eyes are seeing."
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot, nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Are you kidding me?
How disconnected from reality do you have to be to say something like that? We all saw what happened in Los Angeles. There were fires, assaults, law enforcement getting attacked, small businesses destroyed. But she tells us to ignore our eyes? What kind of Orwellian insanity is this? This isn't just incompetence, it's pure, calculated deception. From California's Governor Gavin Newsom all the way to Washington, it's lies upon lies.
There's a lot of noise surrounding this story. I think it's a pretty simple story. The fact remains that this thing was spiraling into chaos before Trump sent in the National Guard, and now it has stabilized. Is there any other way of viewing this, Sheriff?
No, there isn't. We've been lied to from the very beginning. The politicians, California politicians, the mayor of Los Angeles, our governor, have completely failed in that nothing was happening in the beginning. It was allowed to spiral out of control, and then they have created this narrative that completely defies facts and a timeline that we know happened. And this is, they keep calling it a peaceful protest, mostly peaceful, whatever they want to call it. But the reality is that law enforcement officers are being attacked, property is being destroyed, and it is out of control violence that really they're trying to deny for political gain.
From California's Governor Gavin Newsom all the way to Washington, it's lies upon lies. And finally, someone is standing up and saying enough. That someone is John Fetterman. He's not doing this for votes. He's not doing this to impress anyone. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do. Because Americans deserve leaders, not parrots. Because we deserve safety, truth, and honesty, not gaslighting and political theatre. Right now, Fetterman is the lone voice of reason in a party that has completely lost its mind. And whether you agree with his politics or not, you have to respect the courage it takes to stand alone, speak the truth, and take the hits from your own side. As this story continues to unfold, remember this moment. Remember who stood up and who stayed silent. Because when the dust settles, we'll all know who really had America's best interests at heart and who just wanted to stay in power no matter the cost. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Celeb Daily Info for more hard-hitting takes, political truth bombs, and the stories the mainstream media won't tell you. Thanks for watching and stay sharp.